Okay, let's get this started. Hello and welcome everyone to the next episode of the CAL FIRE Office of the State Fire Marshal's NERIS webinar series. My name is Kara Garrett and I am available for technical assistance during this webinar. This webinar will last about an hour and it will be recorded and posted on our website with the slide deck. Please type any questions into the Q&A portion of your screen, and after the presentation, we will be holding a question and answer session. Should you encounter any issues, you can give me a call at 916-201-5539 or send me an email that is listed in the chat. I will now turn it over to Chief Mike Moreland, who will be sharing more information about the National Emergency Response Information System. Take it away, Chief.
Hey, thanks, Kara. Hey, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mike Moreland. I'm a Deputy Chief with CAL FIRE, leading our CalStats program, which oversees all fire incident reporting and fire data across California. I'm excited you're here today for our NERIS webinar, the National Emergency Response Information System, and why this matters to every fire department across the state. Whether you're a fire chief, a records manager, a data analyst, or just here to learn, you're a part of this change. And we want to make sure you're not just ready for NERIS. We want California's fire service to be leading this transition. Now, some of you may have sat through some of the USFA or other NERIS webinars already, and those done by your RMS vendor. And yes, you'll see a few familiar slides, but that's on purpose. It's critical that no matter where you are in California, you're hearing a consistent message and you know exactly what's coming. This isn't just about a new system. It's about improving how we protect lives, property, and the communities with better data, real-time analytics, and smarter decision-making. Now, as you can see, there's a QR code on the screen. We'd like you to either use your phone or you can join at menti.com and use the vote code that's listed at the top of the screen. You'll see it there. It's the 97550160. You can open Mentimeter or menti.com up on your computer while you're also keeping your Zoom session open for audio. I will warn you, if you log off of the Zoom session, you will not have audio. So keep the Menti and the Zoom open at the same time. Now, this is something new. We haven't done this on any of these webinars, so bear with us if there's any technical difficulties going forward here. So for the first one, we want to ask, where are you joining us from today? So you should be able, if you're on your phone or on menti.com, you should be able to put a little dot of wherever you are, either in California or if you're, put them in that box if you're somewhere other than the state. And we can see that live as we go through. And we'll just keep this open for a little bit just to see where we're at. So it looks like Northern California is beating Southern California right now. Still looks like Northern California is in the lead. Okay, well, thank you for your responses. We're going to continue on to the next one. And so right now we want to know, where is your department today in terms of NERIS? So are you waiting for direction? Are you getting started, actively prepping, deep in the weeds with your vendor? Maybe you are the vendor. Or maybe you should be here and you're not really sure what NERIS is yet. Okay, it looks like the majority of you are waiting for direction. I get it. I understand. And hopefully we can help a little bit with that today. That's great. Great responses. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. What's your biggest concern about NERIS? So your options here are training, compatibility, personnel buy-in, maybe timelines, reporting gaps, RMS integration, or other. So timelines is looking to be the #1 response so far, and that's understandable since we're California. We're supposed to be onboarding in November. We'll talk about that a little bit here. So understandable timelines, very aggressive. We've said that from the beginning, but we're here to help. And that's why we're doing this. It looks like reporting gaps and RMS integration is our #2 and are tied in with our #2 in response. Understandable also, and then training. And then our next question and last question for right now will be, what's your department's current data setup? So are you no CAD or RMS? Are you CAD only, both CAD and RMS? Maybe you're RMS only, maybe you're not sure, and maybe you're paper. Nothing beats paper. I understand that. Some of you may feel that way. I know Craig does not. Probably both Craigs don't. And it looks like the majority have both CAD and RMS, so interesting. And only a few so far that have only RMS, and then only one with CAD only. And with this, we just wanted to kind of get what the feel was for those departments in California right now. So this is good. Thank you for participating in this. We will be moving on, but we will do this towards the end, just before our NERIS team speaks. So thank you. So before we get rolling, I want to give you a quick overview of what's coming today, just to help frame where we're headed. But first, we'll start with a refresher on what NERIS actually is, what makes it different from NFIRS, and how it's going to change the way we handle reporting across the fire service. Then we'll walk through some important timelines, including California's compliance deadline, key onboarding phases, and later, what early adopter departments are already doing. We'll also talk about the end of NFIRS, what's officially going away and then happening, and what that means for your data and reporting obligations. We'll wrap up with some key resources and ways to stay connected, so you'll always know where to get the latest updates and support. Along the way, you'll hear directly from our partners at ImageTrend and from one of our early adopter departments, Los Angeles County Fire, about their experience preparing for this transition. And at the end, we'll be joined by the NERIS team to help answer some of the national level questions and talk through what they're seeing across the country so far. One important note before we jump in, we're here to inform. Our goal is to make sure you have the right information at the right time so you can move forward with confidence. Okay, let's get into it. So you've heard us say this more than a software update, but let's be honest, NFIRS has been around since what feels like 1955. It served its time, but now we're stepping on the accelerator. Think of NERIS as our flux capacitor. It's not just powering a new system, it's launching us into a smarter, faster, more connected future for fire and EMS data. NERIS is the future. It's replacing NFIRS to help fire departments capture better data, not just fires, but all hazards in near real time. Today, it's not about tweaking a few fields or checking boxes. It's about reimagining how we document the work that we do every single call, and using the data to improve outcomes, protect your crews, and support your community. With NERIS, we're talking about smarter data, stronger decisions, safer communities. And don't worry, we're not tossing you the keys and wishing you luck. We'll walk through the timeline, the tools, and the transition steps to help this feel a lot less like time travel and a lot more like forward progress. Here's where we've been. For decades, NFIRS was the standard, the engine behind how we reported incidents across the country. But let's be honest, it was built for a different era, an era of clipboards, floppy disk, and chasing reports weeks after the fact. Like an old car that once got us from A to B, NFIRS served its purpose, but it's rusty, slow, and out of alignment with the demands of today's fire service. There's only so long you can patch something together before it holds you back. And in our world, falling behind isn't an option. And there in the middle is where we are today. We're in transition mode. The wheels are on, the engine's running, and departments like yours are already in motion. Early adopters aren't just passengers, they're in the driver's seat, helping test the steering, fine-tune the controls, and shape what's under the hood. Now, it's not fully built out yet. You're not seeing every sleek dashboard or lightning-fast output. But what matters is happening right now. We're laying down the data infrastructure, integrating APIs, and getting ready for full-speed deployment. And the future is where we're going. NERIS isn't just a new vehicle. It's a full upgrade in performance, handling, and insight. It's analytics at your fingertips. It's near real-time decision-making when seconds matter. It's smarter community risk reduction with visibility into the things that were once invisible. And whether you're a small volunteer company or a large urban department, this platform is built to carry all of us forward. From the past to the present and now the future, NERIS is how we shift into high gear and lead the next era of fire service data. So here's the big picture for 2025. NERIS is rolling out across the country in 5 phases. The goal is to make sure every department transitions smoothly before NFIRS officially shuts down at the end of the year. Right now, the NERIS team is laying the groundwork for phase 3, broader adoption. This is the stage where the things start to scale. Departments are onboarding with large numbers. Vendors are ramping up support, and the system's capacity, is expanding fast. Now, you might hear that other departments are already up and running, or that they haven't even started yet. That's expected. Every FEMA region has its own rollout timeline, and departments are receiving onboarding guidance based on where they're located and which RMS they use. The big picture goal: full nationwide adoption by the end of 2025. We want every department online, operational, and confident when we hit that January 1st switchover. Now here's the real takeaway. If you haven't already connected with your RMS vendor or confirmed where you're supposed to onboard, it's time to do that. If you're still waiting for your vendor to call you, you might be waiting too long. Reach out, ask your onboarding window. Make sure your agency is on their radar, because your RMS vendor isn't just a vendor in this process, they're your mission critical partner. They'll help you configure, test, and validate your data inside the NERIS system, but they can't help if they don't know you're ready. Think of it like checking your gear before a structure fire. You do not want to find out something's missing when it's time to roll. This phased rollout ensures system reliability and scalability as more departments transition to NERIS. Each state has a scheduled onboarding window. This chart here gives a general timeline for each region. So far, NERIS has been rolled out to 3,900 departments, up by almost 3,500 from the last webinar, and 70 departments reporting into NERIS right now. This approach allows time for training and support so that departments have the resources they need before going live. And California agencies are expected to transition in November. Just note that as you may be expecting to transition in November, this could be sooner, especially setting up your department's profile in NERIS or your respective RMS. So after seeing the rollout schedule, your first instinct might be, can we start now? Or should we be moving faster? And those are fair questions. But here's the thing, just because your vendor is ready, or just because another department has already started, doesn't mean it's time for you to jump ahead. This is where the structure matters. The NERIS rollout is being done intentionally. by phase and by region to make sure onboarding happens in the way that is coordinated, supported, and sets everyone up for success. That's why I want to take a moment to acknowledge the departments who have officially stepped into early adoption roles, not just because they're eager, but because their timing aligns with the national rollout plan, vendor readiness, and capacity. Here in California, we've seen more vendors added to the list as new vendors come online, and more agencies are forced to make a decision about their future platform. We're working closely with the NERIS team to get those departments aligned, supported, and integrated into the early adoption phases. But again, and this is important, don't assume that vendor readiness equals a green light for your department. The onboarding window has been coordinated, and we're here to help you do that the right way. The good news is this: whether you're onboarding now or in the next phase, this process is working because departments are working together and the foundation is being built the right way. The beauty of NERIS is that it doesn't expect your department to have it all figured out. It meets you where you are right now. If you don't have a CAD or RMS yet, no problem. You can use the free NERIS app to report. If you've got CAD but no RMS, NERIS can still accept the data and help bridge the gap. And if you're fully connected with CAD and RMS, great. Your data can flow straight into the NERIS through API connection. No matter where you're starting from, there's a way forward. For those of you who joined us before, this will sound familiar, but it's important. NERIS's onboarding isn't a flip of the switch event. It happens in two phases. Phase one, you set up your department's core profile, staffing, units, deployment models, and service areas. Phase two, once that foundation's in place, you begin live reporting, either through the NERIS collection app or via vendor integration. The goal here is to launch clean and avoid issues down the road, because once you're live, you're not going back to NFIRS. And now that we've covered the big picture and the national rollout phases, let's zoom in a bit. What should you and your department actually be doing right now to get ready for NERIS? It comes down to 4 simple steps. And if this were Back to the Future, this is where the flux capacitor kicks in. Identify, designate your department's NERIS lead, and confirm whether your RMS vendor is ready to support onboarding. You can't go 88 miles an hour until you know who's driving. Gather, pull together the current data in operations, personnel, response zones, and service areas. This is the fuel that powers your transition. Prepare. Double check your unit inventory, CAD RMS integration status, and your mutual aid agreements. Think of this as tuning up the DeLorean before time travel. You want a smooth ride. Share. Communicate with your team, your partners, and your local decision makers. I know it's only June, but if you're anything like me and you're already asking, wait, where did this year go? You should be feeling a little jolt in your gut because this thing is moving fast. Departments that start preparing now and making sure their personnel, especially the ones who will be entering the data, are aware of the timelines, they're going to have the smoothest ride. It's about getting your team involved early. Make sure they know what's coming and that they're helping you get data submitted on time. No scrambling, no surprises, just a straight launch into the future of fire service data. All right, NFIRS is officially entering retirement, and no, it's not heading off in a DeLorean at 88 miles per hour. Like any retirement plan, there's paperwork, there's deadlines. And if you don't stay ahead of it, well, let's just say there might find yourself stuck in the past. We're about to walk through the key dates your department needs to hit to close out NFIRS the right way. Because here's the thing, unlike NFIRS, you don't get the ride off into the sunset just yet. Here's the reality. 2025 is a hybrid year. Once your department moves to NERIS, you're done submitting to NFIRS. January 1st, 2026, no more NFIRS submissions, period. All incident data must be entered into NERIS. January 15th of 2026, This is the last day to submit 2025 incidents into NFIRS if you're still wrapping things up. And January 31st, 2026, this is the final day to edit or modify any 2025 NFIRS incidents. After that, the door closes for good. Look, NFIRS has earned its retirement. And here's the deal. You're not going back to NFIRS. And once NFIRS is NERIS is live, the past is in the past. One important reminder here, your agency still owns the NFIRS data. You're not losing it. You're just transitioning to a better, modern system that actually fits the work you do today. Let's spotlight one of those departments doing the work right now, Los Angeles Fire Department. Correction, Los Angeles County Fire Department. Today we're out front to highlight one of the early adopter departments, Los Angeles County Fire Department. They're helping shape the early phase of NERIS. Los Angeles County Fire Department is working closely with ImageTrend and are on the right schedule in preparing their data. Let's get started in welcoming Battalion Chief Robert Graska and Data Systems Specialist Laura Vaca from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. Are you guys on?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, great. Is Laura with you today too?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. So I have a couple of questions and we'll just to do a little question and answer with you guys. So why have you decided to become an early adopter and how did you hear about it?
So we decided to become an early adopter because we're obviously a very large agency, and we felt that we would have a lot of valuable input into building it out. Because we're such a large agency and we cover a large area, we run all different types of calls and collect all different kinds of data that maybe a lot of other agencies may not have a chance to experience depending on what their level of service is. So that being one of the large reasons that we wanted to be involved early. And then I think for our own sake, maybe some selfish reasons, is that the sooner we kind of get our eyes on it, because we're such a large agency, and the ship turns slow, as they say. So the sooner we can get eyes on it, I think the more successful we'll be during the transition.
I hear you. That's where CAL FIRE is too. So thank you. So as early adopter, what has the process been like so far, and what's gone smoothly and what's been challenging?
I think that it's been challenging because we just really haven't had a lot to do for like the whole, first part of the year. There's not a whole lot of movement that we're able to get ahead of, and that's like a lot of people voted on the questions earlier. That timeline is getting kind of compressed to the end of the year, which I anticipate is going to be a challenge for us to get everything together. And then just kind of reviewing some of the data points and comparing them to the NFIRS data points, different codes. There's a lot of I guess, that switching over, that's going to be a challenge as well.
Yeah. Now I know there are a lot of here with us, or a lot of us here today. So don't let that make you avoid this question I'm going to ask you, but how has your RMS vendor supported you during this transition?
They've been very informative and helpful. We have, and there's not a gun to my head or anything, but we have a very engaged and knowledgeable account advisor. James LaPierre, he's been working with us for a long time now, and the guy is on top of it. He stays informed as much as possible, and then relays a lot of that information to us. So as soon as the form became available from the vendor, we were able to get our eyes on it. As soon as the data points became available, we were able to get our eyes on it, and that's all been a very positive experience for us so far. I think that they obviously have a challenge, being that they have a very large client base, and so getting the form, the NERIS form set up for a wide variety of nationwide clients, I think is a challenge for them. So that part again is compressing that timeline.
I hear you. I understand. We have a great account advisor too, so I know that helps a lot. What advice can you give to other fire departments getting ready to transition this fall?
Yeah, so that a lot of that comes from Laura as well. Laura is our data specialist, basically, that is responsible for all of the NFIRS reporting and kind of the data reporting and all of that stuff. And she's really got her hands on this stuff, and she's been doing it for a very long time. So she's our obvious local expert, and so she has maybe some input on this.
Yeah, so we're just what the advice would be is to just become familiar with it, to get hands-on and to actually look at the new code. So even though department may not be able to actually start using it right away, I mean, just the difference in just reviewing the codes so that they're familiar with it, I think that goes a long way. It's different, and we've been used to these codes for years and years and years. So definitely getting familiar and just kind of thinking it through on how the new codes are going to apply. I think that that would be my best advice.
Yeah, I hear you on that one too. What's one of the things that you're looking forward to once you're fully live in NERIS?
For me, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
For me, I'm looking forward to the new opportunities, the things that we can do, the fact that everyone's going to be on the same system, we're all together, and just so the endless possibilities of being able to get the reports in quicker than we did before, and we're going to be able to help others, and I'm a nerd. I'm a total nerd on these things. So I'm just looking at, wow, it's just a great opportunity just to where we can go. I think we kind of hit a wall with where we were at with NFIRS. I mean, it did the job, but this is just opening up the door to all these great opportunities. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that personally.
Great. Well, that's all I have for you guys today, but a huge thank you to both of you for stepping up as early adopters and sharing your experience with us today. We know it's not always easy being first, but you're helping shape the future for all of us. So thank you.
Thanks
You're
for the
welcome.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well, now that you've seen an overview, let's zoom in a little bit. And NERIS isn't just another reporting platform. It's built to connect the systems that power today's fire service. At the center is NERIS, surrounded by a web of connected data sources that enhance every report. Parcel insights, land value, square footage, year built, and acreage automatically pulled for every incident. Real-time weather, temperature, wind, humidity, and precipitation captured at the time of the call. People, places, and infrastructure, building types, community, demographics, and transportation data pre-integrated. Hazards and conditions, risk exposure, recent activity, and interagency resource data in one place. NextGen 911, FEMA Go, and NEMSIS, integrated dispatch details, grant data, and EMS reporting all working together. Instead of juggling disconnected systems, NERIS brings it all into one connected, evolving environment. The result, less duplication, better data, more time to focus on what matters. Let's talk about one of the biggest value adds of NERIS, analytics. For many fire departments, this will be the first time they can access real-time, actionable insights tailored to their operations. Whether you're a firefighter, company officer, or fire chief, career or volunteer, NERIS is designed to make your data work for you. These interactive dashboards will be free, customizable, and constantly evolving to better serve agencies of all sizes. What you're seeing here is just a preview of the live dynamic analytics already in development, and there's more on the way. These interactive dashboards will be free, customizable, and constantly evolving to better serve agencies of all sizes. What you're seeing here is just a preview of the live dynamic analytics. Sorry, I think I repeated that, but actually what you're seeing here is the NERIS badge, RMS vendors that have earned their NERIS badge. And as you can see, to earn the NERIS compatibility badge, a vendor must create an integration between their software and NERIS, submit a new incident in the test environment to the FSRI Fire Department, capture the unique incident number and submit an update to the incident that was created, and establish a station and add a unit to the FSRI Fire Department. So now that we've covered vendors earning the NERIS badge, we want to take a few minutes to spotlight what this transition looks like from the vendor side. This is the first of many vendor status check-ins we'll be hosting during our webinars. And today we're excited to welcome Nathaniel Meisner, and please correct me if I'm wrong in your last names, Alex Canfield, Mike Tomasi, and Jason Hatfield from ImageTrend, one of our first RMS vendors to successfully integrate with NERIS. The team here is to give you a quick update on where ImageTrend stands today, what their users can expect, how they're helping departments prepare for the transition, and a sneak peek at how NERIS looks inside their system. So welcome and thanks for being here. We're excited to have you join us today. With that, take it away.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Like Mike said, my name is Nathaniel Meisner. I'm a sales engineer with ImageTrend, retired from the fire service, did 21 years with Albuquerque Fire Rescue, and took a little time off, and here I am working for ImageTrend. We were users of ImageTrend. I love the product, and now I work here to continue to make it better for us in the industry. I'm joined by Alex Canfield, who's one of our fire product owners, and a couple other folks representing. But I'll just go ahead and get my screen shared up and dive into the information we have to share for you today. All right. You got a thumbs up there, Mike? You can see my, good. All right, cool. So just a brief agenda. We don't have a ton of information that we want to cover today, but we recognize there's some folks on the line that may or may not know about ImageTrend. So we'll briefly just talk about who we are. Then we'll dive a little bit into NERIS. We'll take a sneak peek at some of our NERIS run form within the Elite platform. And then I'll turn it over to Alex to talk more specifically about some of the product development and the path forward, although Mike has done a really nice job of outlining some of the timelines we were prepared to discuss, but that's okay anyways. We got plenty to share. So with that, ImageTrend, we've been around for quite a long time. We have a number of agencies across the country, and really what we're trying to do is unlock the impact with the intelligence that you're gathering. And so just like NERIS is trying to do, we're all out there collecting a ton of information, and we need to leverage that information to impact our communities, our citizens, and make our communities safer. And so that's really what we're trying to help our customers do across the country. Now, we offer a wide variety of solutions, not just fire solutions, but EMS solutions, hospital-based solutions. Specific to the fire industry, we have an RMS that has a really nice EMS to fire workflow that allows your folks to complete their EMS and their fire incident reporting in one place to get both of those reports done quickly and easily. We have locations, occupants, inspections, and permits for those departments that house their own inspections offices, and a scheduling solution called Slate that folks can use to staff up their fire departments. Recently, we've added the ability to do visual pre-plans, and we'll talk a little bit about that more today as well. Obviously, we're focusing on NERIS today, but as you can see, all of this information that we're collecting, whether it's around fire CQI or EMS CQI, investigations, there's a lot of analytics that have to be delivered. And what we're trying to help you all achieve is some intelligence that's really going to move your fire departments forward and make your communities safer. I noticed a slide up a minute ago, kind of replicated a lot of what I'm showing here. On the fire side, we have a large presence across the country. Over 7,000 agencies that are using direct entry to document over 94 million records, fire records, with 12 state fire marshal systems. We also have a really large presence on the EMS side because we recognize that EMS is a large portion of what a lot of our fire agencies are doing today. And for every one of those EMS runs that they're going out on, there's a need to collect some data for NFIRS and for NERIS. And we're trying to streamline that process for you. So we have a really large presence when it comes to the EMS side. As you saw on the slide before, we're NERIS ready. We're excited for this to get our agencies, live and pushing data over into the NERIS platform, and just to continue to grow this together with NERIS and with our fire departments that are using our solution. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just take a quick sneak peek at what does NERIS look like in an ImageTrend solution. So I have a NERIS incident pulled up here, and so what you're looking at here is just a very basic run form inside of our Elite site. And so as fire departments that are familiar with ImageTrend solutions know that we have a variety of options to work around the different needs of our departments. So whether it's somebody like LA County and LA City or CAL FIRE, they all have special needs and desires to document their information in a specific way, and to be able to collect custom information specific to their communities and the challenges that each one of you are facing. And ImageTrend, whether it was with NFIRS, whether it's with EMS, or whether it's with NERIS, we continue to provide that flexibility, that ability to configure run forms around your specific needs and to collect that specific information, whether it be things like +1 codes or what we call supplemental questions to gather specific information about your community and then be able to report out on that is what's critical. So the form we're looking at today is just a sampling of the form. Obviously, if you're an ImageTrend customer, you know that you can move these things around and customize this to your specific needs. But just wanted to give you kind of a look and feel of that. Like they were talking about earlier, some of the different incident type codes that we can see out there, very different from what you saw in the NFIRS data set. And we're continuing to enhance the ability to filter and sort and really make it easier for those firefighters who are trying to document incidents to go from that traditional, I need to document a 111 or a 321 NFIRS incident and translate that into the NERIS language and at the same time help them get their jobs done quickly, easily, and accurately. One of the things I'm most excited about inside of the NERIS platform, coming from the fire industry, is really in the casualty and the rescue section that we have here. And I'm not going to dive totally into this, but really collecting information and time elements around the benchmarks that our fire departments are out there collecting today: fire under control, 360 complete, search and rescue activities, all of those sort of things that NFIRS did not concern themselves with for the most part. NERIS is very in tune with those, and we're excited to be able to collect those and document that information. You can see here that just like in NFIRS, you would have what we call validation rules that need to be met, and based off of those rules, you'll require additional fields that need to be filled out. And so your firefighters, as they document, they can solve those validation rules and navigate through our system quickly and easily without a whole lot of clicking around. Very flexible to be able to be used on a number of different devices, whether it's iPads or tablets or computers on the trucks. Very flexible. And then, you know, as you move through the form, typically you're going to try to achieve 100% validation on your incident report before you complete this. And then when you're done, hopefully, you can get back to the daily activities of your station and let the folks like Laura, I believe it was, that is a data person and loves to look at the data. Let her start analyzing those things to see what's going on in your particular areas. I'm going to close out of this just for a second. Within the Elite platform, if you're not familiar, I did touch on most of these, but inside of our module switch to menu, we have a whole variety of different modules for our customers to be able to access all in one place, whether that be hydrants, checklists, inventory, training and activities, fire investigations, CQI, which is quality assurance around both EMS and fire incidents, our locations, occupants, inspections module, and for those communities doing community health outreach programs, the ability to track those, along with our staffing solutions and our reporting solutions, to go above and beyond likely what NERIS is going to be able to provide because of that customization, the ability to collect those custom elements, things like Continuum, to visualize your data inside of one place and really understand what's going on and alert folks to key things that are happening inside of your data set. Or maybe it's something like visual pre-plans where your folks need to be much more in tune with the hazards that they're facing in today's firefighting operations and pushing that information to the fingertips of your responders rather than them seeking that information through, you know, antiquated methods like hard notebooks and folders that were in the truck, or maybe they're searching PDF file sets to gather that information. It's critical. All right. Am I still good on my screen share? I feel like I switched screen shares.
No, you're good.
Okay,
You can
good.
see the pre-plan.
Okay, good. And on my side, it flip-flopped on me for some reason. So lots of tools coming for the fire service. I'm excited to be part of the company as we move forward and continue to develop around NERIS and enhance our offerings specific to the fire service and really solve those challenges that our fire departments are up against out there. So I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint here, and hopefully I can get this from the current slide. And I'm going to turn it over here to Alex to talk a little bit more about the transition for ImageTrend. Obviously, a couple of these slides he's going to ask me to flip through quickly because I think Mike covered some of them. But Alex, if you would take over and just let me know when you're ready to flip screens, I'll handle that for you.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Yep.
Yeah, so really quickly, my name is Alex Canfield. Like Nathaniel said, I am one of the product owners for Fire. I am specifically heading up the NERIS transition, so making sure that all of our software is ready for NERIS moving forward. Chief Moreland did touch on it, but it's also worth repeating again. The rollout for California starts in November, and this is primarily for onboarding. So this is not necessarily the first time you can touch NERIS. This is just the first time that you can actually get onboarded on the NERIS side. Within our software platform, at least, you can go in and you can start doing some of your planning now. You can get some of your organizational done. You can build out your form and your rules. You can get quite a bit done with well before actually contacting NERIS and getting onboarded. And then once you do get onboarded, we can kind of hit the ground running. Next slide, Nathaniel. So California departments, we actually have 293 California departments already using ImageTrend, 12 of which were part of our NERIS beta agencies. We are actually currently rolling out our NERIS functionality to all demo agencies. So we're not quite ready for live agencies, but that is coming in the very near future. But in our 06 release, which is actively going out now, we're opening it up to all of our fire clients currently. Things to get started with. This is a little specific to our software, but generally is pretty vague. So you are able to use a lot of this information regardless of your RMS vendor. Run through your users list, make sure your active users are correct, make sure that their licenses are up to date, just make sure that all of your data is correct and ready so that when this transition happens, you don't have to go back and make any adjustments to any of your entity or data or demographic information that already exists. Vehicles too. A lot of this information is also going to be sent to NERIS. If you do have data that's not filled out or it's not ready, then it will fail your submission potentially, depending on what data points it is. And it's just easier if we kind of get ahead of things. It potentially avoids a headache in the long run. Agency locations. This is kind of a big one compared to NFIRS because NFIRS didn't do a ton with agency locations, but you do need a primary headquarters. This is also applied to other things like vehicles as well. So a fair amount there. Also run through, again, Chief Moreland touched on this, but things like your station addresses, your minimum staffing, your ISO ratings, like these are all things that we can and will be submitting over to NERIS. Reviewing your current usage. This is a little more specific to our clients currently, but some things like supplemental questions and worksheets are going to be needed to be recreated for the NERIS platform. It's just easier if we get in now, get ahead of it, get it onto the run form. So the first time your providers touch it, we're not going back and forth and trying to make adjustments on the fly. Other duties, we do suggest having a primary NERIS point of contact. It's not a necessity by any means, but it does very much help streamline the entire process from both our side, your side, and the NERIS side, as Craig can probably attest to. Next slide, Nathaniel. So our current roadmap for at least this year, our quarter one was to get the core data sets in. We did do that. We got our form manager up as well as validation rules. We began in quarter two, we began the transition to our NERIS beta agency. So we have had people in for a couple of months now, working through things. We've gotten a lot of good feedback and we've taken a lot of it to heart, and it absolutely has led to some changes. Quarter three, which we're just kind of pushing into now, we are starting to get more clients that are just doing the larger onboarding. So we're in a lot more conversations. We're starting to have more states reach out so that they can get going, so that they're able to also take their information and put it up to our internal library so they can share that to all their agencies as well. And in quarter four, we're going to continue our work. We are primarily focusing on data documentation first, and then we will be moving to some of the secondary items like our CQI modules and stuff like that immediately afterwards, but still near the end of this year. Next slide. So in the NERIS onboarding process, the very first thing for onboarding itself is getting into the NERIS site. You have to get your NERIS ID and your NERIS reporting name. But as soon as you have that, you can plug it into our site. And shortly we'll be able to use that to submit data and pull data down at will. The configuration does state that it's between phase 2 and phase 1. That's partially true, but also not necessarily true. There is a lot of preparation that you can get started with beforehand as well, at least within the ImageTrend system. And then phase 2, we're going to get going on submitting data. This is going to be coming soon, so I hope that Craig's ready for it too. Next slide. A couple of FAQs that we can allot. Is there a cost to transition? No, there's no cost within the ImageTrend product to transition over to NERIS. It is included and rolled up within your existing FHIR contract. Will we support +1 codes? We do currently support +1 codes. However, currently these do not leave your system. So just as a heads up, you are able, we do want to make sure that everybody can collect all of the data that they want. But we also need to make sure that you're still compliant within the national standards. So we are handling all of that on our side, but you are able to add +1 codes, and then we just send the proper data on export. Will we support custom fields? Yes, and we already have a list of them in. These fields were primarily just mission critical, local agency-based data that our clients requested that they be able to add. That was not necessarily in the core schema from NERIS. NERIS is also releasing a secondary schema and a tertiary, and they will continue to be released going on to the future. So anytime that they add a field that we currently support, we'll make sure that we can roll that data into the new field and make sure that we still have data integrity moving forward. Continuity in reporting. we are going to allow for our complete reporting suite for NERIS as well. We don't quite have exact timelines for it, but the expectation is that this year you'll be able to report on everything. And anything that's entered into our system, even if reporting is not quite ready whenever that data is documented, all existing data will be available when all reporting options are available. So Continuum will likely be the last transition to NERIS, but still anything that's entered before that transition will still carry over. Will it be possible for agencies to report to the states? Yes, and the states have easier collection as well. Anybody that direct enters into any RMS vendor, all of that data will make it over to the state, including if you do direct entry into the NERIS site. Next slide, please. And just really quickly, an informational page. We do have a couple of different things, different ways here to stay up to date. Chief Moreland did list a couple of pieces earlier. NERIS has their own navigations as well, or their own notification. You can subscribe to newsletters from them. You can subscribe to newsletters from us as well. And we also have a blog that we update fairly regularly with all of our new information. If you do use ImageTrend, I also highly suggest checking out the university. We have a huge suite of already prepared documentation for all of the NERIS modules that are out, as well as a local agency checklist. That is a good resource to just download, start from the very top. It explains everything that you need to do to get your agency and your data ready for the NERIS transition. And I believe it's probably generalized enough to be used elsewhere as well, but it is specific to our software platform. And thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming on. We did have one question in the chat, and it was, let's see here. How can I start entering the higher level department demographics that NERIS is going to want?
If it is as an ImageTrend customer, as soon as you receive the 06 update, so it does depend on your release schedule, when it is activated, or when you get the release, you'll have to go to the system level into your agency tree. And you're going to have a new toggle that just says use NERIS. You can flip that to yes. That gives you access to the majority of the demographic fields. So a lot of the agency information that is specific to NERIS, and we are going to be pulling from some of existing fields as well, that NERIS is pulling at least similar information or the same fields from NFRS. We're also going to just be reusing some of those old fields to pull in some of that existing demographic information.
And Alex, you had mentioned the university. That step by step is going to be covered in those university articles, correct?
Yes, correct. Yep.
And we will now be opening it up for questions for the group. So if you have a question, please use the raise hand feature and we will unmute you, or feel free to type it into the Q&A portion of your screen or the chat. And I do see one question submitted. Our department uses ESO. Will there be informational training with them as well?
They will be invited to our next webinar. So if you're an ESO client, they'll be invited to the next one. And just to let you know, Kara, we do have some more slides to finish out.
Okay, sounds good to me. Easy enough.
But we will have some question and answer time at the end for everyone. So again, thank you for ImageTrend for coming on today and sharing your system with us. I appreciate that. I know everyone's time is valuable. So we're going to move on, and we had the Mentimeter questions before. I will go ahead and put the instructions and the access code back on the screen for you. And this is just a question for you. So what's one word that describes how you feel about the NERIS transition right now? And you can just put those words into menti.com or on your phone. And as you do that, those will populate onto the screen. So a lot of these words, I feel you. I know that I've heard this from everyone, and I think it's a lot of this is just, that system that we just haven't been able to feel, touch, and see yet, especially as California is one of the last regions to onboard. But I think if we check this in a few more months, this may be a lot better in terms of how everyone's feeling. I hope. I'm just going to let this run a little bit more. Okay, so our next question is, how confident do you feel about your NERIS readiness? So basically on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not at all confident and 10 completely confident. How do you feel? I think this is good, just checking the perspective from our fire department so far, and this is good for those vendors that are on and for the NERIS team that's on, just to get kind of a overview how everyone's feeling right now. I appreciate everyone's response. And we'll go ahead and move to the next question. You can keep answering those. You can go back and answer those too, as you see fit. Our next question is, what would help you most next? Live demos, vendor spotlights, office hours with our program, CalStats, checklist or planning guides, reporting requirements, deep dive, a NERIS working group, or you're just here to see me? Yep, I knew it. And it looks like so far live demos and reporting requirements, deep dive is in the lead, followed by checklist or planning guides. I think that's probably what I thought I would see doing this. And this is good. This is something not only we can work at as your state's fire department, but we can work with the vendors and the NERIS team also. Okay, moving along. So before we close out today, we're thrilled to bring in 2 people most deeply connected to the NERIS project at the national level. Please welcome in Craig Weincheck, the Director of Research and lead NERIS developer from FSRI, and Craig Rollins, the Supervisory Program Specialist at USFA. So together, they've been helping shape and steer the national rollout of NERIS, from development and testing to the real-world department onboarding, especially in FEMA regions 1 and 2 so far. Now, they've seen this system in action with all the lessons, surprises, and momentum that come with change of this scale. So welcome to California, so to speak, gentlemen. We're incredibly grateful to have you with us today and excited to get your perspective on where things stand nationally and where we're all headed. And of course, if you've got anything to show us, maybe a peek at live dashboards, real department profiles, or even early use data samples and examples, we'd love to give folks here in California a glimpse of what is actually happening out there in the field. We've got a few questions too we'd love to walk through with you, but we'll keep it conversational and give you some space to go where you think the insights are most valuable. So with that, Craig, welcome in. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate being here, and it's really kind of odd and still getting hard to get used to working with another Craig, because there's very few of us that are out there and working together, particularly in this space. But I thought your update was great. Things are going really well at a national level. You hit some of the numbers. We had 3,900 agencies that are in the onboarding process, roughly 600 that are verified, 90 departments that are actively reporting. We got just under 15,000 incidents in the system right now. more agencies are coming on board daily, moving from that unverified or working on it to verified, where they're going through updating their user profiles, their station statuses, their vehicle IDs, and then more and more moving over to that reporting. So that's a real exciting time for us. We're in a new era of fire department reporting. I loved your analogy of the vehicles, because it really is. We've moved on to a completely new phase of how we're going to be using data going forward. No, we can now push an update out to a system to get new data, as opposed to having to touch every computer in a system to try and add a new question, things along those lines. Craig, do you have anything to add there?
I mean, I think at this point, right, we're somewhere around, 1,500 calls a week coming in. But 2 weeks ago, we were around 800 calls a week coming in. So, that growth period is happening. We're getting ready to bring on New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana next week. So we're full speed ahead on continuing to march forward. And that's probably the most exciting piece. Is we've got multiple departments reporting directly using the built-in data collection app, as well as multiple different vendors submitting data. So the system's working as intended. Data's coming in via API. There's no more having to send the file around. It shows up. The data just shows up for the states that have departments reporting data. It's there. They can pull it out via the API. They have access to it in dashboards, and we're continuing to build those and improve those basically weekly as we go.
And so, what are some big lessons you've learned so far with your rollout with Region 1 and 2? Or correction, was it 3?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. Sorry, I knew it was something like that.
It's all right.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things, is when we create users and do bulk onboarding with states, we're kind of, we leverage a lot of automation. So we don't manually create passwords or anything, right? They get generated from our API, and those emails get sent to all of the respective admins for their departments. When you invite 2,000 people or 4,000 people, I think we have something like 15 or 16,000 users in the system at the moment. When you invite that many people automatically, the internet says, hey, you're doing this automatically and you're a bot. And which is actually correct, right? We are automating all of this. So it's a constant struggle with, us wanting to do things automatically, and then basically the internet saying, hey, you're doing this automatically. We're going to send your emails to spam. That's probably been the most difficult hiccup is defeating automation detection and having all the security headers and all the nuances that come with that. And those rules are changing every month, so we've got to stay ahead of those requirements to minimize some of those challenges. And then the surprisingly large number of AOL emails that are still in use is also quite fascinating across the fire service. I did not expect that statistic, but that is still very much alive and well email address in the U.S. Fire Service. So that's one of those fun tidbits that you see when you look at your user base.
Yeah. So what do you think fire departments should be watching out for right now?
So we're gonna, I think probably next week, maybe the end of this week, we're gonna be putting out a email or marketing campaign. So we're gonna be doing another webinar at the end of July. And I saw that one of the biggest things was a demo. So that is actually one of the key pieces of the webinar. Is I'm going to walk through the whole system, at least through the NERIS application side, from start to finish. logging in, looking at all the resources, looking how incidents are managed, looking at the dashboards. So we'll do all of that from start to finish. I know we did one back in November. We've built a lot more infrastructure since then, so this will be a much bigger demo, and we'll isolate that out post webinar too, so it'll be a standalone video. And then also we have a Vimeo page for NERIS videos, for training videos, for trying to keep them in that kind of 7 to 10 minute range, knowing that that's probably the longest attention span we'll get for people wanting to look at data videos. We're continuing to put more and more of those out, and walk that line between, we have to use our UI in certain areas, but trying to keep them independent to teach the skill and the concept for users. So that's another big one, is the continued push of videos out for folks looking to understand some of the nuanced differences between the NFIRS schema set and the NERIS schema set.
Greg, and on that, with the touch point on the live demos, is we're limited that we can only do the demo on the data application that we have. All of the vendors, and I liked seeing the ImageTrend application up. It gives you the touch and the feel that your clients are going to have with it, because it's not something we can replicate or we can demo. So as you go forward with your other sessions with your other vendors, make sure that they if they can show the interface that they're going to be working with, because the national engagement we're doing is going to be limited to the NERIS application that we have. So, and we know that the majority of the fire service that's out there is going to be entering data through a third-party records management system, or RMS.
Yeah, and are there any patterns or common issues you're seeing from both the vendors and agencies so far?
In terms of like incident data, things like that?
Yeah, or anything, any issues, either whether it's negative or positive?
Not really. I think one of the pieces that stands out as we've worked with vendors, that they started submitting data in, we assess, hey, how's the data coming in, all that stuff. It's much easier to update a record now. Changing records in the legacy system was a very difficult process, just by the nature of how the technology was designed. You could change them locally, but we've had some, just some cleanup on how folks were splitting out the addressing fields to align with the CDL-XF, the NG911 location standard. And you make a programming change on their side, submit a put request to the API, and they can batch change thousands of records pretty quickly for updating. All the records have history logs, so we don't have to worry about any of that either. But the really cool part is leveraging a modern stack allows us to make those changes. So for those instances where that I saw that Nate had the casualty rescue piece up, right? And that's that's probably my favorite piece of the schema as well, is tracking saves, right? Something we've never done in the fire service at a national level. But even for those casualties that in the unfortunate situation where they were non-fatal and became fatal, we've been underreporting fire casualties by probably 50% for the last 10 or 15 years. Think about how much money has been left on the table for research and resources because we've undercounted, because we have had a difficult time to update. Those types of pieces, right? There's all these kind of nuanced small wins around, and seeing that kind of stuff work as expected and getting the feedback from the vendors saying, yeah, that was pretty straightforward. That's been a really big win, to see that come to life as intended.
Got it.
Yeah, and at a national level for us, it's going to be huge that we're able to get this data and work with it on a near real time basis, we'll have, hours of latency as opposed to months, potentially years worth of latency. And particularly with the fatality data, we have a 12, frankly, it's 18 to 24 month data latency when we're waiting for our gold standard of fatality data, which is coming from the NCHS, which is National Center for Health Statistics in autopsy data on actual cause. Now we'll be able to provide some provisional data and then back that up with the actual data, the gold standard data as it comes along, providing better estimates going forward on how we're doing, how we are reporting on what the national fire problem is, what systems are working. I can't wait for the CRR modules to really get built out so that we can start better estimating, better justifying our CRR programs, our community risk reduction programs, and what's working, what may not be working, and how we can try and get ahead of some of these problems.
Yeah, agreed. I know there's some tools that ImageTrend shared. We're going to share some tools here in a little bit, but other than that, how can departments stay engaged and be part of the national feedback loop for you guys?
It's a great question. I'll drop some links in the chat as well. I think that's probably the best way. All of our onboarding information starts here. So we'll be, this gets updated with everything that's happening. So this is the first place to start. There's a bunch of resources. I think somebody or a handful of folks were looking at an onboarding checklist, was one of the requests in one of your questions. By the way, I voted for you, Mike, just so you knew that vote was mine. Sorry to skew your data. But we do have an onboarding checklist on the page. We have more rollout information. So all of this is happening. We have links to all our videos. And at the very bottom under additional documentation, we do have a quick start guide for how to connect to your vendor. So how do you pair your NERIS node to your vendor so the data can start to stream? We'll be releasing a video on that probably next week or maybe even as soon as the end of this week. So this is kind of the best place. And then we did start our own blog while it's, getting up and running here. Let me get that link for y'all. Also on the NERIS site. So there's a ton of resources on the NERIS site that are don't require any login, stuff like that. So we'll continue to update our blog here quite regularly with updates on sometimes long form articles on schema changes or updates on onboarding, all that stuff. So those are kind of the two places I would go to start with. And then if there's questions, our help desk is manned 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And probably longer than that because our staff is always around. This is very much a 24/7 job for us. So,
Oh, his batteries must have died.
Yeah. What he was saying is it's pretty much a 24/7 job for them. And it is. There's never a time that I have called that Craig or one of his team members haven't answered. A lot of the feedback we get from the agency or the agencies that are onboarding, the states that are onboarding, is that they're there when they call, or they call back very, very quickly to try and figure out what the problem is and resolve that problem so that we can get things moving forward. We're seeing really good feedback from the NERIS team, the FSRI team, in the onboarding process.
Well, great.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. I think we're good. I appreciate you guys joining us today. It was incredibly helpful. I really appreciate you sharing not just the national outlook, but also those real examples and what you guys have seen so far. It's kind of just, this is with ImageTrend, our LA County and NERIS team on today. It's the kind of collaboration, we're hoping for, and so thank you again. We'll try not to break the system once California gets going, but no promises there. But with that, let's take it back home right now. So before we wrap up, let's talk about what matters the most and here on out, and that's staying connected. The NERIS transition is moving quickly, and we know it's a bit of a sprint, or it will be here shortly for you. So, but keeping pace now will save you a lot of scrambling later. So use the QR codes on the screen to access essential tools. I think a lot of these is what Craig was talking to you about with the FAQs, some video walkthroughs, and CAL FIRE specific updates from the CalStats team even. If you're not already getting NERIS email updates, now's the time to subscribe. It's the easiest way to stay in the loop with them. And here's the good news. This isn't a one and done rollout. So as more of NERIS takes shape, we'll be inviting you into the process, sharing live demos, unpacking new features together, creating suggestions, and offering collective feedback. Because this transition shouldn't happen in silos. We want to move forward as the statewide fire service community, not alone and in the dark. Now, we know that there's going to be hiccups, and we know that the system won't be perfect on day one, but it's a huge leap forward, I believe, and every one of you here plays a role in making it better. Thanks for sticking with us today, for showing up, for helping shape the future of California's fire data. And with that, Kara, back over to you, and thank you again for being part of today's conversation.
Thank you, everyone. I am going to put the information for our July 21st webinar into the chat along with the registration link. And I did see a couple of questions come in. So first, it will be Martha. Our department uses ESO. Will there be informational training with them as well? Or sorry, that was answered. Joy, is there a requirement for the CAD vendors to change their data feed to include the new NERIS fields?
I can answer that from ImageTrend side specifically. As of right now, no. There is nothing the CAD vendors are going to have to do. We can take the same data. We just have to update some of the mappings on our end. In addition to that, NERIS does actually collect additional dispatch fields as well. So there is a real chance that we have an opportunity to collect additional data, but there's no change that's needed on your CAD vendor side.
Anything to add, Craig?
So yeah, we're working with a couple CAD vendors to have direct connections, especially for departments that might not have a fire incident reporting, application themselves. And for the most part, the only translation is that our call create time might not be the same exact text that they have. So there'll be some slight mappings, but as far as novel data, none of our required fields are inherently novel in the sense that they aren't already being collected. Though we do have optional fields that may not be currently collected that are impactful for the fire service, such as water on fire time, times around, search start, search complete, fire knock, things like that. That if we can move the industry towards collecting, the value of the record becomes immensely more valuable. But it's going to take some time. And if we don't surface them, at least optional to start, then we'll never collect them. And so we are definitely on the more flexible side, early on, especially on the CAD side, knowing that we've got to at least surface this to folks to begin asking for those values to be collected. But we also, the way we've set this up is for some of those timestamps, they can come from your RMS as well. So if you use, I don't know the full suite of all of the RMS products out there, but some do have, command type software that runs for an incident commander where you can, drop those timestamps directly from an iPad or something on scene. So all of that stuff can come in from the RMS side, as well as if it was captured by dispatch from a canned remark or something for a dispatcher listening for key phrases. So it can come from either side of the equation.
Okay.
And we do have a question that came in. What does RMS stand for?
Records Management System. So any of the vendors like ImageTrend, ESO, First Do.
Thank you. And then a question in the chat. Our department is currently creating our RMS with first due. We have no previous NFIRS reporting and are wanting to implement NERIS sooner than state rollout. How would we get approval for early adoption in California?
You have them send me an email directly, and I can conversate with them after this.
Thank you. And then Chief, I'm going to drop your email in the chat if that's okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Absolutely. And then the last question I'm seeing, is First Due going to be attending one of these training webinars?
They actually attended the last one we had. Those are found on our OSFM webinar site. That's correct, right, Kara?
Yes, and I'm going to drop that in the chat as well.
Perfect, thank you. So yes, they were at our May webinar, or I'm sorry, our April webinar. We didn't have one in May, so April was when they were here. So any other questions?
If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Don't see any outstanding.
And feel free to email me if you do have a question that comes up, or if you have a suggestion of something you'd like to see. We're always open to that, and we're here for you. I appreciate everyone coming on today, listening in. I know time is valuable in this day and age. And thank you to our guest, Los Angeles County Fire, ImageTrend, and both Craigs, Craig 1 and Craig 2. I don't know which one is which, but I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.